Hello students, I am Dr. Garima Srivastava from Lal Bahadur Shastri College, Lucknow. Now coming down to written communication, today we are going to discuss what is written communication. A written communication means the sending of messages, orders or instructions in writing through letters, circulars, manuals, reports, telegrams, office memos, bulletins, etc. Now, of course, when we use the term written, it means something that has to be given in the form of written document. So, whenever we are going to transact, whenever we are going to share any kind of information, change any kind of information, written communication is important. On the contrary, we also have an oral communication in the organization, which can be defined as formal as well as informal kind of communication. Its formal method of communication and is less flexible. So, written communication is a more formal kind of communication because we already have documentation proof, and when of course, when we write something it has been written and it makes it more exemplary. Then written communication can be preserved for a very long time and becomes a permanent record for the future reference. So, that is why written communication is important in some aspects. So, of course, we cannot always use oral communication in the organization as a medium of transmission of information from one person to another. For that purpose, we will be requiring certain kind of written communication also. So, once a written communication passes down the line, suppose from top management to the lower management or the middle management, that means you have formally informed everyone, and this document will be serving as a proof in future that we have already informed everyone who has received this communication. So, as a record, as a proof, we can also get the signatures of the people who have read this written document. So, this particular document becomes a permanent proof. So, it can also be used as legal evidence. Sometimes in the organizations, written documents such as contracts or agreements or certain kind of salary slips, these can be used as a legal documents also, because they are in the form of written communication, and of course, they are usually on the letterhead of the organization. That means organization's name, stamp and other information about the organization is already embedded on that particular written documentation. Similarly, we also have signatures of authorized people on this written communication. So, it also serves as a legal evidence in future. It is time consuming, costly and unsuitable for confidential and emergent communication. Now, of course, when we talk about written communication, it can't be done in a very faster method. We need to understand that what has to be written, what kind of information has to be communicated in the form of written communication. Similarly, we also need to judge on different sentences, different aspects, the choice of the word, those will be used for writing this document. Similarly, it may be costly because it will be requiring certain kind of your physical structure such as papers, pens, printers, photocopier machines, all these things will be required for written communication. So, it may be somewhat costly for the organization, and sometimes it becomes unsuitable if we are trying to if we are trying to cater some kind of confidential information or secret information from one person to another. So, in that purpose written communication may be a drawback, but in certain other things, certain other aspects, written communication can be taken up as a formal channel in the organization. Now, what is the basic purpose of written communication? Think now and write later. That means, for the purpose of written communication, it is important that we need to think at the first step. Of course, anything cannot be written, whatever comes to your mind cannot be written down. So, before writing down, we need to jot down different points, different aspects, different filter different points which we need to give in this written documentation. So, that every point is being covered, and whosoever is reading this document is able to understand the actual purpose of this document. So, before we can begin to plan the how, he or she has to understand why of business writing. Now, when we talk about business writing, we cannot in written communication, I am strictly and professionally talking about business writing. It is not related to any other kind of writings. So, when we talk about business writing, we should know how before we should know why. That means, the purpose of writing is important, but how am I going to serve this purpose of writing this particular letter, notification or circular in the organization? That means, is there a set format, or I need to set up this particular format in which I will be sending this business writing to the other people in the organization. So, writer cannot decide what is the most appropriate form of presentation unless he has established what purpose written communication is to serve for both the writer as well as the reader. So, the purpose of written communication is very important, because when we talk about written communication, it always has an introduction, it always has a body part, and we have a conclusion part as we write a simple form of letter or any kind of formal writing. So, now greeting can be in the first part, then conclusion can be at the last part, regards and thanks. But what you have to write in the body part, how you are going to address everyone, address the person whom you are sending this written communication, this is very important. So, we need to plan this before writing down the written communication. Frustration may be caused if the writer fails to think carefully about the purpose of business writing. Though sometimes it fails if a writer does not think about the purpose of the writing, he does not filters the different points. So, the purpose may fail. Why? Because without thinking, without planning, if we are going to write, of course, we may or may not miss on certain important points which were needed to be given in this written communication. So, to avoid that, it is very important that before writing, give at least 2 to 5 minutes on your writing, what has to be written, how it has to be written, jot down all the important points, jot down how of your writing, how you are going to present every point, then of course, see the sequence of those points and then start writing. This will serve the basic purpose of this your written communication. Now, talking about the advantages of written communication, it is suitable for long distance communication and repetitive standing orders. So, when we talk about long distance communication, written communication is important, it will serve a good purpose. Why? Because in those cases, oral communication may be hampered due to clogging of the network or due to some kind of disturbance in the network. So, in the long distance communication, where we need to share a lot of information, there we can take up written communication as a formal method, wherein we can use emails, fax, telex for the purpose of sending information from one point to the other. Of course, we need to consider repetitive standing orders. That means, whatever is going on repetitively in the organization. Suppose one circular goes out in the November 1st week. So, the same circular with some changes has to go out again in the December month, then again in the January month. So, such kind of repetitive standing orders or repetitive notices can also be taken up for the written communication. So, it will save a lot of time for oral communication. And of course, if we talk in contrast with written communication about the oral communication, it will of course, in a long distance it may hamper due to the congestion in the network, and of course, when you talk something repetitively, you may miss out or leak some of the information which was important to be given. So, for that purpose, written communication will be the best. It creates a permanent record of evidence. It can be used for future reference. So, wherever the situation is so that we need to create a permanent record, or we need to keep this particular written document as a proof of our business operation, there written communication is an important one. So, for example, if we go into a contract act and we see an agreement between a party A and a party B. So, this agreement can be in a verbal form, but if this agreement is in written form, both the parties will be aware of all the terms and conditions for the future purpose, and if suppose a dispute arises between party A and party B, both can approach the court with this particular legal evidence they are having. So, it gives the receiver sufficient time to think, act and react. So, when we have something in written, we can we as a receiver, we as a reader of that written communication can understand the written communication in a better method, and it will give a sufficient time to understand, it will give a sufficient time to give to understand that particular information of the person who has given this. Now, it can be used as a legal document, it can be sent to many persons at a time. So, when we talk about written communication, it can be sent to n number of people at the same time, at one go, at the touch of a button. This can be done in the oral communication also, but in case of oral communication, you need the people to be assembled at one place, or you at least need them at one platform. But for written communication to be sent, it can be done at the same time. There is no need for the person to be at the same platform. Everyone can open their own desktops and their emails over there, and then they can read the document which have been shared. So, it is suitable for sending statistical data, chart, diagram, pictures, etc. So, as far as we talk about statistical data, chart, diagrams, they cannot be explained orally, only orally. If we go in for oral communication for such kind of depictions, so for that purpose we would be needing PowerPoint presentations, wherein I have a data or chart at one end, and at the side of that I am going to explain this particular chart. But suppose I am not able to handle the oral communication, or I do not have so much of time, so as to tell the people orally about the different charts or diagrams. So, they can be given, they can be shown to the people, they can be understandable to the people through written communication. Now, jotting down the points of the advantages of written communication, it acts as a permanent record. This permanent record can be used as a legal document also. So, mass dissemination, you get everything at one go, you get everything in that particular written document if you have already filtered all the important points in the beginning. It is suitable for long messages, accountable. Of course, this particular record can be kept for a future reference also. So, its accountability is also there, and it will serve to build the goodwill and image of the organization. Now, coming down to the disadvantages of written communication. When we talk about written communication, it also has certain disadvantages, slow and time consuming. So, of course, when we talk about oral communication, it is faster and it saves a lot of time of the organization. So, now over here it is important to us understand the situation, the issues which need to be communicated. If it is an emergency situation where no time can be wasted, there you can take up oral communication. Otherwise, for all the other methods, all the other issues, written communications can be taken up. So, drawback of written communication is that it takes time to get committed to writing and transmitting it to the destination. The feedback in the written communication may be much delayed. Why? Because everything goes in a step by step manner. The sender also jots down the point, filters the points, then writes down, then sends it to the receiver. The receiver will also receive it, interpret it, understand it, and then he will give the feedback. So, all this procedure may take more time of the organization. Lengthy and expensive. Limitations of written communication is that it is a lengthy process, and the infrastructure required to write a proper business letter is quite an expensive affair. So, it will require other physical structure for the organization for going in for written communication. So, it may be an expensive process for the organization. Then lacks personal touch. So, written communication lacks a personal touch. That means, whenever you are talking orally to the people, you are able to see them, you are able to come face to face with those people, you can have an eye contact with the people. Of course, questions and queries whichever arise at that point, they can be answered at that point itself. So, this personal touch is missing somewhere in the written communication, hence it is very difficult to persuade or motivate through a letter. So, wherever we need a persuasion, we need motivation in the people, we cannot go in for written communication, because it may be lacking, the emotional sense may be lacking in the written communication. So, it is very unsuitable for illiterate people. Suppose you are having a category of employees who are illiterate, who are not able to read or who are not able to understand. So, over there written communication will not work that efficiently. Maybe some people understand, maybe the other group does not understand, and it may create a situation of confusion or conflict in the organization. So, to avoid that, we need to see who are our target people who are going to read this letter or written communication. So, and how far they will be able to understand whatever is being written in that particular document. So, over there it will be almost useless for the illiterate people who are who are no longer being able to understand whatever is being written in the document. So, in developing and underdeveloped countries, large number of people are illiterate. So, written communication can become a hindrance rather than a help. Now, lack of confidentiality. Of course, when talking about secret information or confidential information in the organization, written communication may leak out this particular confidentiality of the information. So, for that purpose, to maintain the confidentiality, to maintain the secrecy of the information, we need to go in for oral communication. So, in written communication cannot be as confidential as personal communication. Lastly, we have filing. Written communication, whether received or sent, has to be filed properly and preserved for reference. Increasing files can create a problem of storage. So, with time, when a number of files will be there, a number of documents will be there, it will be difficult for the organization to maintain these records. Now, at that moment, the organization can go in for automated processes where they can keep these files, keep these documents in a soft form in the organization. Now, jotting down the points of disadvantages of written communication, we have it is slow and time consuming, it is a lengthy and expensive process, it lacks personal or emotional touch. So, it is unsuitable for illiterate people or the people who are not able to understand the language whichever is written in the document. It lacks confidentiality, it may leak out the secrets of the organization, and it involves a lot of filing, it involves lot of record keeping of the documents. Now comes the clarity of written communication. Clarity means clarity is one of the 7 C's, one of the 7 important aspects of any written communication. So, why we are focusing on clarity is because written communication needs to be very clear. The choice of words, the framing of sentences, whatever information you need to give, it should be complete in itself. So, this means there should be complete clarity in the written communication. So, clarity is a characteristic of a speech or a prose composition that communicates effectively with its intended audience. In general, the qualities of clearly written prose include a carefully defined purpose, logical organization, well constructed sentences and precise word choice. Now, talking about clarity, we have following points which are needed to make a document clear in its own form. So, very first one is use short active verbs. Simple words and active voice make your text direct and concise, which means it will be easily understood. So, we should be using very simple words as far as possible. Do not use any kind of jargons, and also use active verbs wherever possible. For example, if we take up, it runs like a well oiled machine. This is a very simple and active voice sentence which can be used, but suppose a person use it operates like a well oiled machine, or a person uses it runs like a well oiled machine. So, now I am using a very complex verb operate, that is operate, and I may use a passive voice, that is well oiled machine. So, now over here all the 3 sentences will mean the same thing, but it may be interpreted, it may be understood in different forms by different people who receive it. So, you should use very short sentences with active verbs as far as possible. Secondly, you need to be very concise when giving information in the written form. So, unnecessary words dilute the meaning of your message. So, read through your draft in order to look for sentences or words that are redundant or otherwise not required. So, once you have already prepared your draft, once you have already prepared your written documentation, you need to check them again, so that whatever extra, whatever redundant things you have written may be at least deleted out, or they may be emerged, they may be submerged with some other sentences. So, so that less and less is written and more is given, more and more meaning it delivers to the person. So, wherever you are writing more and more, if you are explaining more and more, it may create confusion. So, for that purpose, be concise. For example, Henry is not like William, he takes more risks. Now, here are 2 sentences which can be merged up into one sentence, they can combine into one. Henry takes more risks than William, it will be meaning the same and it will not make other people confused. So, you need to be very much concise in your communication. Then be specific. The more specific you are, the more likely the people are to understand you. Example, senior vice president says more than top executive. So, you have to be very specific while you are saying something. So, instead of saying that top officials have to say more than top executive, just directly say senior vice president has to say more than top executive. So, here you are very specific that who needs to address more than the top executive. So, of course, when you are giving this written communication, you need to see what are specific points that you need to cover in this written communication. So, then when you will be specific in your points, you will be able to communicate them in a very specific manner to the reader. Then fourth, if you take up the point is use familiar words. Now, familiar words means use those words which are very much simple and use those words which the people are aware of. Do not use very difficult or very twisty kind of words or attractive kind of words just to make your conversation, just to make your written communication attractive. You while using written communication, familiar words should be written and it should be very simple form. So, so when we talk about acronyms and jargons are communication shortcuts. So, we cannot use those acronyms or we cannot use jargons or the technical terms in different fields as communication in the written form. So, whenever we talk about communication, jargons should be less and less used. Instead, you can explain those jargons, instead you can explain those technical terms to the people in just one line. So, but they aren't effective unless the majority of readers understand their reference. So, only use them if you think at least 95% of the audience will be able to understand. So, it is not always that you cannot use jargons. If you know your audience, if you know that more than 95% of your audience will be able to understand those familiar words you are using, then you can use those jargons in your communication. Then coming down to the next point, provide context. Whenever writing a communication, you should always provide a context to it. So, keep in mind that every message needs a context in order to be clearly communicated. Now, when we talk about context, we have following 3 points. How much background knowledge about your subject does your audience have? Given the purpose of your message, what information should be given to them? If the message contains photos or illustrations, are they clearly related to the subject that you are giving? So, that means you are continuously throughout sticking to your subject topic, whatever you were talking about, whatever you are writing about, you are not diverted away from your topic and you have tried to give the whole of the information which is related to your topic. Now, coming down to the 6th point, watch for misplaced phrases. If you are using phrases in your communication, now you should see that any kind of misplaced phrases or placement of phrases is very important. Why? Because if you are using phrases at different wrong points, it may be the sentence may be interpreted in a very wrong manner. So, the placement of phrases can be obscure and clarify the meaning of your sentence. So, to be very clear with your sentences, do not use the phrases, and wherever you are using the phrases, the choice of the phrase and the use of the phrase should be very carefully chosen. For examples, having been a member of association for decades, I believe Mr. Smith deserves to be named emeritus. Now, this is one sentence as an example where a person is depicting Mr. Smith deserves to be emeritus because he has been associated to the association for decades. Now, if we talk about this particular sentence in terms of phrases, there is a misplacement of the phrase. In the sentence above, does the phrase have been a member of association for decades referred to writer or the Smith. Now, we are not able to interpret that we are using this particular phrase for Mr. Smith or the writer. So, now we can revise this sentence in a more clearer manner in the form that I believe that Mr. Smith have been a member of association for decades, and he deserves to be named emeritus. This is a very simple sentence wherein I am directly depicting Mr. Smith as a member who has been in association for decades, and therefore, thereby he deserves to be a emeritus. Now, coming down to this next point, that is organize your text. Now, of course, jotting down the points, filtering down the important points is not enough when we talk about written communication. So, for that purpose, always organize those filtered points, jotted points which you have already written in your particular diary before writing, drafting your written communication. So, when you organize them, when you put them in proper sequence, then your raw data, your raw information will be giving a meaningful form. Make sure that your copy is organized in a way that allows your audience to progress smoothly from point A to point B and on to point C. Coming down to the next point, that is make sure your points always support your position. Everything you include in your piece, in your website or any document that you are using should reinforce your main message. This can include testimonials, study results, guarantees, comparisons or observations, or just details about your product or services. Now, of course, when we are writing down a communication, if required, any kind of documentation is required, you should attach those documentation along with your written communication, so as to give it a support, give it a strong support, that if you have any kind of confusion, you can go down, you can go through the to the documentation that has already been attached with the main written document. Then pay attention to commas. Missing or superfluous commas can change the meaning of a sentence. For example, originally selected students, there is no comma in this, but this particular thing, particular sentence may have different meaning when we say originally selected students. That means originally selected students are this, but originally that means we are talking about the past, the selected students were. Now, of course, both of the sentences will make different meaning for the reader. Now, therefore, using commas should be very carefully done. Coming down to the last point, tell readers what to do. Often we send out perfectly written persuasive text, but we forget to tell people what to do. Most people are busy and distracted, they might not be sure what expected from them unless you tell them. So, if you want them to write, call, remember your product and expect you to call, then say so. So, I would like to tell that written communication needs to be very clear, concise and specific, because it serves as a proof for a long time and it can be preserved as a documentation in the organization. Thank you.